Okay, welcome to the next part. I've got a few things I want to cover today, if possible, get done. But a couple of things I want to show you that have arrived. The belts. And a bit of a result with them. 20 belts. I got 10 60s and 10 240s. They're 35 quid for the 20, including the postage. Actually 36 quid. So sort of just over £1.50 each. So a bit of a result there. So I'm going to keep in touch with that company. I've also brought the motor in today, and surprise, surprise, my holes actually line up and it fits. I was really chuffed with that when I lined that up and they actually mated up. I've had a slight second thought on how I'm going to mount it. I was going to put some welds along here, but just in case I ever want to alter it or do something to it, take it apart for some reason, I've decided I'm going to bolt it down. So I've cut myself some little inch by inch heavy angle iron. I think that's 3/16 angle iron. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to weld a few along here, one there, one there, and on this side one at the back, and then round the other side just two at the front there, and then I'm just going to bolt them down through there, so just to allow me the option to take it apart if I need to or want to. So that's that bit. I've spoken to the guy with the wheels, and they are on their way. He posted them this morning, so with any luck I might get them end of the week, beginning of next week maybe at the latest. But in the meantime I want to try and where is it? Try and get this put together, or at least mounted onto the aluminium, so that we can get an idea of what's what. And also I've decided I'm going to put, this is where I'm going to put the knobs to do it up. I'll have that one there, and then probably that one up there, or vice versa, that one down there maybe. Actually I think that one's going to go down there, and then the adjustable one up there, because that's probably the one I'm going to use, move mostly. I don't know, anyway. So I'm going to weld some strips down, a couple of strips down there, drill and tap them. So that's the projects for today, so I want to get started. So let's see what we can do. Alright, I'm going to start off cutting some of this angle iron. It's 2 inch by 1/4, and I'm going to cut a couple of bits inch long, and they're going to be for the platen, to hold the platen. I shall drill and tap these later on. I want it nice and heavy. I don't want anything bending very easily. You know, if you lean on something a little bit. I've made the rest of it pretty chunky, so I don't want to fall down for the sake of a little bit of angle iron. So that's that bit. And now I'm going to cut off the, I'll just show you where these are going to go. They're going to go on there once I've drilled them, and then the platen on the front, obviously. So I'm next going to cut the little bits of flat that I'm going to brace the sides with, where I'm going to put the threaded adjusters, clamp bolt things, handle clamps, you know what I mean. I want them about 4 1/4. Now a couple of them. As I'm doing this job, I'm finding more and more little things that need doing. I thought it was going to be fairly straightforward putting it all together, but one job seems to lead straight into another job, that you hadn't necessarily thought about. But it's all good fun. Right, so that's those two. That's all we're cutting for the time being. That's where they're going to go. One down there and one there. They just reinforce the sort of sides a little bit. Again, you know, it's already 8mm, but I'm putting a 10mm and a 12mm thread through them, so I want some decent meat to thread into. So I'm just going to try and clamp these in place. I've just taken the scale off with my grinder. You can see around the edges of where this is going to weld. It does just make the welds a little bit nicer. I don't know what it is about the scale, but it just makes things a little bit neater if you take it off for some reason. I suppose it doesn't get, or it doesn't contaminate the weld when it burns off. You're sort of burning straight into fresh, clean metal. I'm beginning to learn this with my TIG welder. I don't know if I've told anybody yet, or don't know if I've done it on YouTube, but I bought myself a TIG welder. Excuse me, and I've been playing about with it. I haven't done an awful lot with it. Done quite a bit of aluminium work with it, and clean, 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 and clean is the only way to get decent welds. And it's sort of rubbing off in my MIG welding. You know, MIG will go through all sorts of rubbish, but if it's clean, it really does come up much nicer. I will at some stage probably do a little video on my new TIG welder. It's AC/DC obviously if I'm doing alley. I've never used one before in my life, but I'm actually finding it fairly easy. Right, that's them clamped on. Let's see if we can get a few tacks on there. I'm not going to fully weld round these. A, I don't think it needs it, and B, I don't want to risk distorting the side plate, because that's going to be if it distorts it, that'll be a bugger to straighten. So I'm just putting a couple of sort of 3/4 inch tacks all the way around, maybe inch, I don't know, that sort of size. So I'll probably put just the 4 welds down each side, or 2 down each side of each plate. Bit of a slow-mo. Glad I'm not doing too much welding today, because I didn't bring a long sleeve shirt with me, so end up with sore arms. But the amount I'm going to do today, it ain't going to bother. I'm going to replace all these 6mm bolts that I've put in, because I've discovered I don't actually have enough of this particular one. So I do have some very slightly shorter stainless steel ones, which I've got enough of. So I'm going to, when I finally put it all together, I'm going to replace all these with stainless. So I'm not too worried if any of these get damaged or spots of weld on them or anything like that. They're literally just holding it all in place until we get it finished, because obviously I've got to take it all apart once it's all up and working, and take it all apart to paint it. I'm not going to leave it bare. I might powder coat it, I don't know, we'll see. See what's left in the job, but you know, it's going to be quite an expensive job. It's the same old story, isn't it? Spoil the ship for a ha'porth of tar. I could splash out an extra 40, 50 quid and get it all powder coated. Or I might just get the rattle can out, we'll see. Right, now then, I've got to drill 10mm and a 12mm. So let's get over to the... Oh no, let's mark them first before we get over to the drill. Now you see I've actually chalked 10mm and 12mm because, knowing me, I'd drill the wrong size holes in the wrong bits. Not that it would be a complete disaster, but you know, I like to try and get the right holes in the right place. And I'm only doing 10 and 12. They're only different because the clamp handles that I've got just happen to be that size. I didn't want to start splashing out on extra handles because they're quite expensive, these clamp handles. So I've got 2 on order for the... what other bits? Oh, for the platen and for the sort of table, you know, the rest, so that they can be adjustable. So I've got them on order, but I've got these other assorted handles kicking about. I thought I might as well use them, try and save a few quid. So that's really the only reason I'm doing a 10 and a 12, because that's the size of the clamps. Now I'm trying to get... I'm not doing this very successfully or very easily. Those holes are 50mm centres, so I want that line in 25mm from the centre of those holes. So I was just doing it by ruler, which is probably good enough. Right, let's get over and drill some holes, 10 and 12. Try and remember. Alright, just going to pilot these first. Actually putting quite a big pilot drill through these. Just put a little bit of jollop on. Really does make so much difference, that stuff. I really could have turned the speed up on that, but hey ho. As things are going along, I'm sort of in my mind just sort of making mental notes of things I might do differently next time. If there is a next time, of course. Like a lot of my jobs, I often only make one-offs. I think I did make 3 or 4, maybe 5 of the smithing magicians and sold 4 of them. But I don't like repetitive work much. Right. We've got nearly through. Come on, that's it. Right, we've got this one is the, which one's this? Is this the 12? Yeah, this must be the 12mm. So we've got, which you can't see, I'm putting the wrong one in. I'm putting the 10mm tapping size in. But the 12mm tapping size, which I've just realised I put the wrong one in, is 10.2 tapping size. Luckily I spotted that. Run that through. It's running nice and straight, that drill. considering it's a very old drill. I don't even think that's high speed steel, that one, but it's working. Right, now I can put the 10mm tapping size in, which is 6.8. Let's run that through. Move everything about. It's quite handy, this drill, with you've got the head moves, the table moves, and the arm underneath moves, so you can move stuff about quite well. And lock it all off again. Do have to remember to do that, because sometimes you don't lock it off, you put your drill down and a whole lot flies everywhere in different directions. Oh, there we go, freed up. Oh no, we're gonna no, we're gonna have to tighten that up, I think. That's better. Nip it up, free it off. Away we go. We're there. Cool. Right, let's get over and do some tapping. Okay, so we're going to put the 10mm in first. I've just got an old 10mm tap. I think this will probably do, because it's a I think this is a, I'm not sure if it's a first or a second. Anyway, it's going in. Just start off nice and steady, just looking at it from each direction, making sure you're going in straight, and once she's bit and you're going in straight, you can speed up a bit. Now I'm just going to clamp this to the bench because this tap isn't particularly sharp, and I think it's going to take a bit of pushing to get in, and I can see myself giving it a bit of stick and the whole job flying onto the floor. I've got this sort of resting on the edge of the bench and on a sort of like a trestle thing. Roller. You can see that's a bit tight, so it's not very sharp. I thought it was actually sharper than it is, but it'll do. It's going. So I'm just going to whip it out and clean it off, get the swarf off, and give it another bit of jollop. Help it through. It's always a good idea if you've got a bit of a tight tap or an old tap, just go steady and make sure you get all the swarf out, because if that binds up, these things snap like carrots sometimes. And the last thing you want to do is snap one in the middle of a job, especially a job like this, because it would be a bit of a swine to get out. Right, that's the 10mm. Let's have a little look, see if the knob will go in. Yep, there we go. Actually, that's gone in nicely, considering that tap wasn't particularly sharp. It's obviously cut a reasonably decent hole. Right, do the same with the 12mm. Again, I think this is a, not sure if this is a taper. No, I think that must be a second. I think they're both probably seconds rather than firsts, and they're certainly not plugs. Again, just start nice and steady, looking from each direction. Make sure you're going in upright. You can speed up a bit. This one is much sharper. You can see I'm putting less effort into that. That's cutting and breaking a chip off nicely. Just see, just appearing through. so that's that. Let's see if the 12mm clamp will go in. At least I'm assuming it's 12mm. I haven't tried it. It might be 1/2 inch. No, it's 12mm, luckily. I do like these adjustable clamps. You can lift the handle up and move it in any direction so that you can get it out of the way of any other handle or knob or anything else that happens to be in the way, and still adjust it. Dead handy they are, but they are quite expensive. Right, so now on to the, what are we going on to now? Oh yeah, we'll drill the aluminium now. We'll get that drilled and tapped so that we can mount the, I don't know what it's called, platen holder. You have to be careful drilling, Ali. It can bind up really quick. It sort of grabs. It's sort of sticky in a funny sort of way. So I'll just put a bit of that jollop in. You can use alcohol. Use methylated spirits is quite a good one. WD-40 is not a bad job. I couldn't be bothered to get my WD-40 out the back of the truck, so I'm just putting a bit of this CT90 ordinary cutting compound on. It seems to be doing the trick. Let's put another little squirt in. Doesn't need a lot. Can't remember what grade this aluminium is. It's pretty decent stuff anyway. So it's not your real soft stuff. It's a little bit harder than that. I'm sure it said somewhere on the advert when I bought it. In fact, I know it did. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known what it was, would I? Right. 6.8 through again. This is going to be 10 mils. These. It's going through nicely. Just to see what's going on. I've got above my fat arm. Done. Alright, that's them through. Go and tap them now. Right, I found a better tap. I don't know why I bought this one. It doesn't look like it's ever been used. And I splashed out and went and got my WD out the back of the truck. So this one's much sharper. Well, it's like I say, it's brand new. I don't think it's ever been used. Again, start off gently, looking in each direction. Once she's bit, away you can go. Again, you want to keep these nicely lubricated because these can bind up suddenly. Bit more WD. Marvellous stuff, that WD, whoever invented that. Another good one is ACF 50. I use that quite a lot on the truck. It's what they use on aeroplanes and aircraft carriers, and the army I think use it quite a lot. It's sort of anti-corrosion, anti-this, anti-that. Good bit of kit it is. I'll keep a tin of that in the back along with this. I think just come through just long enough. That's that one. Right, I'll just do the other one. I won't bore you with this one. I'll I'll get it started and then we'll skip through this bit because you all know what I'm doing. Right, got them done, but I've just discovered my first error in design. It's a cock-up from my point. This radius isn't right. Don't know how it's happened. I've obviously made a miscalculation when I was doing the CAD. But as I did say in my last video, I was doing it late at night after a couple of glasses of wine, so I'm surprised this is the first cock-up. I can show you what's happening. It's tight there and tight there. It wants to come round more, and it's tight at the top and then it's tight there. So for some reason, I don't know what it is, it's probably very little out, but it's out. Never mind, we can get over it. It ain't the end of the world. We'll actually I'll see if I can show you. You can sort of see visually what's going on. I can take you off the tripod, and if I can get it to focus, focus. It ain't gonna focus. Oh, it's focused. Alright. Oh, it's gone out of focus. Hang on a minute. Let me... It's focused. It'll go. Let me just turn you off and go on to manual focus. Right, I'm on manual focus now. You can see it's high there, the hole. It's going to catch at the top. Then it's perfect, and then it's catching at the bottom. So, catching there and catching there. But in between there and the other side, it's okay. So I don't quite know what went on there. So I'm going to take a little bit out the top, a little bit out the sides, and that should sort it out. See there, it's perfect. So I just don't know what's going on. I'll have a look at the CAD drawing. Obviously, if I put the drawings up, I will fix it before I do. So I'm just going to get the die grinder out and sort it out. Wonderful tool, this. It's one of those things that I should have had years ago. It just makes life so much easier for little jobs like this. Imagine trying to do this with a file. What I'm doing, I've got a parallel bit in there, and I'm trying to keep the die grinder at 90 degrees to the work, so I'm taking the same off back and front. Let's have a little look, and it really does tear it off, so you don't have to really lean on it because it takes it off beautifully. Lots of tiny little sort of chips. Let's have a little look, see if that's any better. Yeah, it looks to me like you can't really see it from there, but it's just taken a little bit out of that bottom there. I'm just going to quickly try it on the bit of alley and see if it fits, and it does, it works. So I'm just going to do the rest of it quickly. Just going to do this top bit. Speeded this up a fraction. I'm going to bore you to tears, but it's, as I say, it's a wonderful tool, and it can alleviate cock-ups in a trice. Yeah, I don't quite know what happened there. I've obviously put in the radius has been, it's still a bit tight up there, I think it wants more there. Yeah, I obviously put a figure in wrong for the radius for that arc, but I'll sort it. It's obviously something fairly simple. I did, once I've realised this, check the other one, the other arc for the rest, and that one's fine, absolutely perfect. So I don't know what happened here. Never mind. Right, I think we might just want a little bit more there. It's difficult to tell when it's in the vise exactly what you need to take off. Another one of those things, you've just got to take a bit, check it, take a bit, check it, so that you're not taking too much in the wrong place. And it's covered in, can't really see them, but covered in little tiny little shards, and they're bloody sharp. Right, try it now. Obviously this will be shimmed out with a couple of washers behind it and washers in front of it when it's all put together, but there you go, that's better. Look at that. Still a touch tight there, might take a little bit out there, but that is much better. Sorted. Just going to put a little bit of chalk mark where it needs taking off. Right, I've done that, I've taken that bit out, I've put it all on, and just for now, I've got another one of those on order for there, so just for now I've put these M10 bolts in, and that's pucker. So, next job, we've got to put these little brackets on there, and we've got to drill and tap these to go on there. So, we better mark them all up. I'm just going to clean these ones up first. Take off any burrs from cutting. Don't take much, just you do get a little tiny burr from that saw. It's only a little tiny one, but it needs to come off. Just take the sharp edges off while I'm at it. Right, so same old job. Mark down the middle. That way, obviously going to do it on this side, and then mark across there to drill them. So, mark them up. If you can see that little cross, yeah, you can see that quite well. So we'll centre dot them, we'll just do the rest of them. Do the little ones. And these are going to be different, so I'm just going to whiz across the centre of these first, and then across the other edge with a slightly different dimension. Give them all a centre pop. Get onto the drill. I'm speeding all this lot up a little bit because you know what I'm doing. You've all seen me drill a hole. Now put the pilot through for all of these, and then the little ones, no, the big ones want an 8mm tapping size, so that's the 6.8. That's that one. For those two. Then I want 8.5 because I want a clearance for the little ones. So I'm going to put some 8mm bolts in to secure it down. Right, let's go and tap them. Probably bored with me drilling and tapping today. But on this job there is quite a lot of it. there was all those holes on the side plates on the last video. What's that one? Number 2. I really need to figure out a way of filming this without getting my arms in the way. I seem to get in the way a lot these days. Alright, 8mm tapped. I'm going to put a big washer on the bolt. It's an oversized washer, it's probably a 10mm washer, and then I'm going to put that through the groove, washer on the back, and that's it. That's how they're going to go. Obviously we'll have the platen across the front. I don't know what size it's got to be yet, something like that. And then I shall weld these to it once I know exactly where it's got to go, and then it'll all be adjustable in and out, so we might be able to do a slack belt grind if it goes back far enough. So what's next? We've got to weld these little brackets on next, I think. So let's see if I can get myself set up for that. Right, I've ground away the scale, I've clamped them on, and I'm just going to weld them up. They're not in any particular place, they're flush at the bottom, they're in between the first 2 bolts and the last 2 bolts on this side, and the same will be on the other side, and then there's one at the back there, you can see where the motor's going. Just keep that part still. Right, let's give a quick clean up. Mr. Super Quick. Get all these finished. Put the bolts back in. Oh, take the bolts out, I mean. Got ahead of myself. Take those ones out as well. Quick grind up with the wire brush. Right, there's the welds. Nothing fantastic, perfectly acceptable. A little bit of undercut on that one. That one's pretty nice. Perfectly acceptable for this job. Right, so that's about it for today. I really have run out of time again today, so next time we'll be marking, drilling and tapping again, more holes to hold it down. And there's a little issue I've discovered that needs resolving, which I won't go into now, but it can be got over quite easily, hopefully. I've just got to think of the best way of doing it. Anyway, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Look out for the next one.